And since then, we also work with many very important partners like United Nations in Vietnam. We work with the UN in Vietnam to set up the Global Compact Vietnam Network in the year 2007, and now we are having about 100 members of this network. You may know that 10 principles of Global Compact in 4 domains, that human rights, labor standards, anti-corruption, and environmental protection. The second point I'd like to share with you is the role of the government. It's very important in creating favorable conditions for the other stakeholders in the society, like private sector, to maximize their role in implementing corporate social responsibility. In Vietnam, since the year 2004, the Prime Minister of Vietnam has approved the strategic orientation for sustainable development in Vietnam. That very important key framework for other stakeholders in the society to join, to team up with the government. And following that, the government also established the National Council on Sustainable Development and Competitiveness Enhancement, of which one of our Deputy Prime Minister is the chair of that council.
I think I'm representing a Singapore Compact for CSR. I think our organization is a bit different from our Vietnamese and Thai friends because we are not concepted, we're not formed as a pure private enterprise or private driven organization. Our birth was in 2005 as a result of discussion among the tripartite social partners, that is government, the businesses, and the trade unions. So we were born out from this national tripartite initiative for CSR. So I think our organization is unique among some networks that our founding members are not just the businesses as represented by the Singapore National Employers Federation and Singapore Business Federation, but also the National Trade Union Congress, which is the umbrella body for trade unions in Singapore. So as a result of how we are born, in terms of the membership, our membership is open up to all stakeholders. So we have companies, large and small, the trade unions, the institutions, PWOs, NGOs, even government agencies join us as members, academia, and recently we have also started engaging the youth, that means those who are going to join the workforce, because there is a need to develop the next generation of CSR practitioners. So because of the nature of the multi-stakeholder membership, our programs are a bit more diversified. We have taken it as a journey for the different stakeholders, whether it's SMEs, large corporations, or institutions. So we do different programs targeted at different membership. Hopefully that everybody can come on board with a common view of what CSR is about. It's not just about philanthropy, it's about doing more beyond that. How you build businesses now and in the future, more sustainable manner. There's a lot of collaboration with different partners, whether locally or overseas. And I should not go into the details of all the programs, but just say that as we move along this CSR journey, we need to bring in more partners and more stakeholders, because it's not just about businesses, not just about the BWOs or NGOs operating within their own country, but it's also about them operating outside the country. Which is why I thought the ASEAN CSR network is a good platform for different networks to come together to share their experiences and help the corporates or different stakeholders to operate not just within their own countries, but of course across the entire ASEAN region. I'll just give a comment short at this moment.
Thank you, Frederick. You can see already, there are very different models, right, in which how CSR is being promoted within ASEAN. So you have, in a way, a tripartite approach, although initially I would say state-led. The state took a very active role. And of course in Vietnam, we see the government playing a very key role. Right? So again, you see that tremendous variation, the need to fit into the different political and social and economic context within each country. So for me, the vehicles are not so important, but rather, whether we try to get to be and objectives. And so I think the role of government is something that we may also want to examine in a short while. And I invite Andrea to speak to us about the situation in Myanmar, which fascinates, I'm sure, everyone in this room.
We're proud to be part of the ASEAN community. In the West, businesses make money, then they think about the people. In the ASEAN community, businesses think about the people, how to help them, then think about how to make money from that. Myanmar has seen unprecedented changes recently, politically, socially, economically. This presents an opportunity to help the country transition into a country of a stronger economy and contribute to the ASEAN network. A strong Myanmar means a strong ASEAN community. But with the rapid pace also warrants caution on how businesses are conducted responsibly. At the most recent World Economic Forum held in Myanmar, one of the key messages from discussions among key political and economic leaders was a message on corporate social responsibility. Recognizing the need to ensure such efforts are taken, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry created a CSR unit. The unit is currently working together with business sector to educate businesses on what CSR is and how to promote CSR. Although this is a new term for the country, the practice is not new. CSR has been ingrained in Myanmar culture. The value of contributing to society has been shared by all the member countries of the ASEAN network. For example, donation and charity events happen on a regular basis year-round. No tax benefits are provided, but yet people continue to do good without any benefit, without any reimbursement of any sort. The people of the country promoting the lives of its people. With the assistance of our local supporters and technical supporters, we are able to utilize what businesses already have in place and use it as a springboard to further their efforts to make a bigger impact on the people. In addition, through the immense support of our international community, we have learned and continue to learn the trials and tribulations.
Also had already on your lips, this is the role of governments in this whole play. We talk about the responsibilities of business, but also if you read the ISO 26000 carefully, just the title, it does not, it's not called CSR, guiding principles, it's about, or guidance standard, it's about SR. So in the preamble, it actually refers to all kind of organizations, explicitly also governments, authorities. So I think it's very important to also maintain always a level playing field. So companies should work on anti-corruption, should not be corrupt. So government, do something on your side. I have, as company, have to follow human rights, so government, do the same. And you can go through all the topics, taking care of environment, so the state also has to do the same. I think this is a very, very important thing, especially when it comes to law enforcement, which I think is one of the key issues, because looking at the principles of ISO 26000, legal compliance, transparency, accountability, respect of law and international rules are just critical and an essential part of doing good business. You cannot be good on the top or in some issues, in some environmental areas or in some anti-discrimination policies while not respecting the existing law. Thank you.
Thank you. To try to reach harmonization a lot quicker, right? So you would have a situation where a Singapore company will say, well, this country in ASEAN has much lower labor standards, or even if it's as high, enforcement is poor, so we can go there and do things which we otherwise cannot do in Singapore.
We not have a big concern on the large corporation, but we are concerned about the small corporates, just even one company that do something wrong, or just small company, it impacts the country. We see what happened in Bangladesh on the textile industry. That's why we are taking a serious role in working with the international community and also the domestic organization and also the government sector to promote the awareness on the human rights issue among the private sector in Thailand. We are now, we have to admit that in Thailand we are facing the shortage of the working force. So now we rely a lot on the migrant workers. And if you visit in some area, I admit that there's still substandard on the human rights and taking care of the labor. So this is, I joined the workshop on human rights with ASEAN CSR Network a few months ago in Singapore, and it's quite alarming for me. So I went back and then talked to various sectors.
I would like to comment to Mr. Phinh Nguyen. I think I'm really encouraged by an example of one of the things that your organization is doing in terms of collecting the stories or models of good CSR.
Right, the ASEAN CSR network would try to bring different networks together, and offer opportunities to build capacity to collaborate.
I'm representing the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Singapore, but my life has been involved with labor and industrial relations. So I just wanted to say I think it's very significant milestone to have this forum here in Indonesia and the ASEAN CSR network moving so steadily forward. I just like to reinforce the comment about the stories, the information.
Some of the other side of what makes the company actually, do CSR or do sustainable business. As you mentioned, network is important, but I think the other part is we have to understand why business want to do that. It's because of the core business, and it's because one of the most important factors is actually the market push. A lot of companies, global companies, they're doing CSR or they're doing this sustainable business because the customer wants it. So what's important is educate ASEAN market towards that ideal, towards that goal. So it's not only, we talk here and there and, in the macro level, but not touching the grassroots society. That's my comment. Thank you.
Rather than talking about law enforcement on CSR, I'd like to think about the incentive. But I don't want to talk about governments right now because I don't think corrupt governments in ASEAN have any idea in giving incentive to parties or corporations that have CSR programs.
We organize the award every 3 years. Why, every 3 years is that according to the stipulation of the government, the award is organized every 3 years, not every year. So this year, the fifth time, we organized the Corporate Social Responsibility Award. And we have been awarding 100 of companies who are pioneering, who are the good practitioner in the field of labor standard or environmental protection. So the fifth awarding ceremony has been organized on the 13th of March this year, and is live on television, the key channel of Vietnam. So the government, the businesses, NGO, donor community came to the awarding ceremony to award the company.
I think what I'm going to say is sort of echoing what the other fellow participants have mentioned from the floor, because what I'd like to urge the ASEAN CSR network when we are coming up with this think tank for formulating policies and all is to ensure that what is the approach for the SMEs and the companies that form the bulk of all the companies, especially in Asia, over 90% or even much higher. It's how to get that message right down to the ground, to the smaller companies who don't have the resources, who are mainly a lot of owner entrepreneurs, who are more concerned about the day-to-day things. So, how do you make the message simpler? First of all, it's also, most people think, what's in it for me?
How we did the one company at a time, one business at a time, is our implementing partner has a head office in Yangon, the capital of the country. They also have 7 different offices. In each of the different offices around the country, they all have their own board. these board members are comprised of businesses that are established in that community. So if we ever have a problem with one of our training sites, we tell our board members and they will go to the local officials because they know the local officials, they know who's there. Then from there, when we go and have these training sessions and we say, okay, this is our new program, can you please spread the word? They tell their friends, this is what we're doing, and their friends instantly sign up. Whereas if we went from the head office, they have no idea who you are. They don't care.
My name is Eddie Loh. I'm from the Good Water Company. We are a company that is a social enterprise by nature. We want to conduct our business where it creates a social impact at the same time doing the business. And our target is basically bottom of the pyramid segment. And I really share with the many participants that just shared earlier on and commenting about the cost, the expenses, the needs to look into the micro situation of how we implement CSR. I'm so excited that I'm quite nervous right now, speaking to you.
Better Factory Cambodia, for instance, where respect of standards was linked to access to American market, then we see a very different picture where big American companies have successfully purchased goods from Cambodia. Thanks.
But for myself, I come from Brunei Press. We are actually a publisher in the country. Now, what we have learned from CSR by attending the workshop and all the seminars is that we recently actually tried to set an example to encourage CSR as a more structured kind of activity. Not that Brunei have not been doing CSR. I think Brunei, like any country in Asia, has its value, and donation and charity is a way of life.
And I believe that when the corporation would like to do a CSR, it's not merely for charity or philanthropy. Even though we are doing it as a passion, some of us, we've been doing it even perhaps before the CSR term comes in. So it's actually in us. Every one of us would like to do good things for the community, for the surrounding. But when we talk about the business community,
the term creating shared value is not ownership of Nestle, but we are one of the pioneers to adapt that. And it's actually a terminology that it's used by, it's invented by Michael Porter from the Harvard University. And it's proven that we can make profit and at the same time also contribute to the society.
I don't propose to summarize other than to say that one theme that stood out for me is that there's a ripple effect in all that you do, right? Whether it's government, whether it's the private sector, whether it's people's society, right? That's something that we should try to bear in mind. In order to keep this forum, sustainable, you all need to get our sustenance now. So I'll pass you back to Jerry, the organizer. Thank you very much. Before that, can you thank
the best part of the day is always the lunch session. Again, you nourish your body and sustain yourself. This as part of the session is about sustainable agriculture. I will start off by telling you a story about why we're doing it and what was a little bit of background, and then I will go on to the sustainable agriculture principles part of it. I would say that the whole story about this is on the 3rd of September in Singapore, we held a consultation on haze and sustainable agriculture. Part of the problem was because there was a problem. And every time there is a problem, sometimes there's a silver lining to the problem. So I'm just going to say that we actually talked about this whole concept of economic development alleviation of poverty, all these can come true as sustainable agriculture, which is about business, which is taught in Rio 20+20, where business and enablers, and we could do these home agricultural principles. And the Global Compact was asked to do this, and part of this whole lot of things, they had a few series of meetings and which came out of the framework, and they asked themselves what are the outcomes for sustainable agriculture should achieve, what are the key factors, key and material for each of the outcomes, what are the actions that is needed to deliver these outcomes. So these questions were asked, and based on this, we talked about sustainable intensification and sustainable agriculture as a factor. We look to all these factors where businesses adhere to principles, governments create an environment, you will get the outcomes which is desired. So from this point, they actually came out with 6 outcomes, which is environmental responsibility, economic viability and shared value, respect for human rights, decent work and thriving rural communities, good governance and accountability, improving access to and transfer of knowledge, skills and technology, food security, health and nutrition. But one of these is also the key things about small-scale farmers. If you look at all these land use, land rights, climate change mitigation, health and nutrition, if you look at all these factors, you look very common with the same issues that we talked about.
To introduce this topic, I would just take the 2 terms we have here, sustainable agriculture. Where these 2 words actually, or what is the history behind these 2 expressions? So where is sustainability coming from? This word sustainability. We use it every day permanently. You find it in brochures. Your companies for sure are using them every day. Everything is sustainable. But where it's coming from actually? If you look back in history,